My degree was in philosophy, politics, and economics. So I'm very much a social scientist and a humanities person at heart. But I still need to understand technology, right? I need to be able to keep track with what the trends are. I need to understand what the engineering is behind particular apps or platforms so that I can understand how they're being applied in public policy settings. And I think the curiosity to be interested in what tech does for us is something that we're trying to cultivate in all of our public offices. What will really be interesting is it means that we need some people who have the depth of domain expertise in technology, and then others who will have kind of broad exposure and be literate consumers of technology, even if they're not fully trained in it. One important part of this in-skilling is not just in formal skills, but also to just be curious about new things and new ideas that we may not have encountered before. And I think there's a lot of ways that we can go about doing this. Part of it is to read, actually, to just be curious about the world, to read a book on stuff that you don't normally look for. I think part of it is also about talking to people who are different from us. And so I do try and make sure that as regularly as possible, I'm meeting new people. Sometimes that comes from just asking friends to introduce you to other people, right? When I wanted to learn about technology, for instance, one of the first things I did was to go and talk to not just people who were doing tech in Facebook and Google, but I went to a friend who is a venture capitalist, who invests in technological firms. And I just said to him, tell me what you look for in firms that you're interested to invest in. Not because I want to be a venture capitalist myself one day. I'd be a terrible venture capitalist. But I'm interested to understand his thought process, right? And the kind of data, the information that he actually looks for. I was talking to a friend who's very active in disability as well. He's a very active advocate in the disability space. And I said to him, tell me what it is like, right, to work with deaf people, to work with blind people, and tell me what I can learn, right, in this whole process. It ended up being very useful for MCI, actually, because we've been thinking a lot about how we can do more accessible communications, right? And you may have noticed that on TV, for more major speeches now, we do have sign language interpretation. And that came about partly because we were curious enough to go and speak to people, right, and find out from them what exactly they wanted. It's something that the deaf community has been advocating for a long time, and I found it really useful to learn from them about what would be beneficial versus what was less critical for their overall needs.